blues for you. Yes, I do. I'm like your angel of love, girl. I've come to see you through. So when you cry, let me wipe your tears. When you're scared, I wanna be there to calm your fears. When you're in need, baby, ring my phone. I'll run right over and we'll make love all night long.
Yo, Elf on the
Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, I'm the present.
You are the lump of coal. That's what you are.
You ain't never known a lump of coal as colorful as I am.
Yeah, okay.
What's going on, y'all? Mel, I appreciate you for joining me in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, this is my Christmas House Slytherin sweater for all you Harry Potter folks. You know what I'm talking about? Make
Yes,
way for the bad guy.
Mel and Sean brought the ugly, and me and Robert brought the rest.
There you go.
You're
There
welcome.
you go.
Well, you use my joke from the green room when we get into the live.
You know, in the green room, and we need to talk about the green room because I come in the green
Ain't it
room.
something that we had to make an effort for ugly, and it's just natural with you two.
and my sweater is actually quite nice.
Okay.
Oh, and you
I
even
think
got
mine
the
is
hat.
nice
what he
as well,
said.
and it describes me.
That's true. I made the nice list. I don't know if you saw my post today, but I got an official certified letter from Santa that I made the nice list. Now I stole it from some dude named Christopher, but that's beside the point.
I don't know whose list this was, but
yeah, once I snatched it from him and changed the name, it's mine. Possession.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hey man, look here. Merry, because this is the last time we'll be on before the holidays. Does everybody here celebrate Christmas? Because I don't want to be offensive.
Kwanzaa.
All right. So we'll just say happy holidays. Is that safe?
I converted to Jehovah's Witness during Christmas. I convert back on the 15th of February. So no.
Non-gift buying,
basically.
Raggedy.
Whatever it takes.
This is probably the only comment I've given Glenn this year. He's actually a pretty good gift giver.
You know what, Mel? You are absolutely right.
Women, this is recorded. Y'all do know that, right? You can't back out of it and be lying.
I would actually co-sign that, Mel. You're absolutely right. He is a pretty good gift giver, man. I have to give him that credit, man. Y'all all right, man?
Doing well.
Hey, I think after tonight we'll be on a break until the 12th. I think I was told. Did I read that correctly, King Baldine?
Yeah, I think you were.
That's you, Glenn.
You're right.
Don't try to act like you don't know.
Well, at least you got the first part of my name right, King. Yes, so
that was good. You sharp tonight. I see what kind of night it's gonna be. You sharp.
Oh, yeah, I am. I got my love beside me.
I got a couple bottles of it right there too.
Yeah. I got
Robert Hazard, you all right tonight? I'm not gonna give you a hard time tonight. We're gonna be friends tonight.
I'm doing storyteller cap tonight.
And Neil, I understand that your criminal record has increased as you were lovingly.
That rap sheet is getting longer.
Yeah, your rap sheet has gotten a little longer as you were lovingly thrown into Facebook jail this particular week.
That is correct. I am. Yeah. I'm in Facebook jail, so I cannot talk crazy in the comments like I normally do every week.
Oh darn! So you can't comment on anything I say about you this week?
No, not.
Oh yes.
Do you want to share, man? What heinous act you did that landed?
It was never heinous, man. Facebook is tripping and on some certified bull crap. What had happened was my wife said that she was cheating on her main, which is Costco, with her side piece, Amazon Prime, for us shopping. So all I said is, I'm gonna whoop his ass. And they put me in Facebook jail for whooping an online store because he goes against community standards or something.
Yeah. Had you said something anti-Semitic or racist, it'd just be free speech.
You'd be just fine.
Okay. Yeah, you'd be okay.
Well, the community could use some standards if we being real. You know?
That part.
Hey, man, I'm excited, man, for the show. I'm also excited that we get a couple of weeks break because we need it. I don't think the people that check in with us realize that it's a bit exhausting, coming on and doing our thing, but we love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. And I think it's so apropos. I nicknamed him today the Great Pontificator. Did y'all see that?
Yes, we saw it.
Yeah.
I ain't see it. I ain't been on because I can't post. So
I mean, and he did it without spell check and everything. Robert,
Right.
I'm impressed.
I was too. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm
okay. Huh. Actually, it was actually a good video, by the way.
It was. Actually, you did a really good video.
I don't do them very much, so you know.
My compliment. But did you see the TikTok video that I made with Sean's face in the middle? Now that was
my God.
But the Al Green music was on purpose.
Yeah.
That Simply Beautiful was hidden, and we looked really good.
Did I have on a black coat and a black like Russian hat?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. I saw it.
Yeah,
I saw that, and I was like, "This was about Sean."
I know. I didn't mean for that to happen.
It's always about me, Robert.
Yeah.
Hey, man, let's bring my man in, the ultimate bass player, my 20-year plus friend, the great pontificator, Mr. Kennery Smith.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we welcome Mr. Kennery Smith. I know you've seen him around Chicago. He's been playing pretty much everywhere with some pretty famous people. But you never see this brother without his piece. I mean, every time I turn around, there's a picture of him with that. Unless, of course, he's in his car. And then he's just trying to enjoy the day and be pleasant and, look a little exasperated. When you yelling at Kennery, man, slow down. This brother got problems. Anytime he's not with that thing, he's half a man he is, man. But hey, he's been playing for a while. I mean, so long that here's a picture of him trying to order his first bass, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the cave, Mr. Kennery Smith.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That order his first bass was pretty fun.
That was actually pretty good. Never leave your baby pictures out with Roger around.
I can see that. What's up, everybody? What's up, fellas?
What's up,
going
man?
on?
Oh, man, welcome back. It's been a long time.
Has it?
Like
I guess it has.
Hey, Kennery, I said last week that we can tell how the production team feels about the guests by the promo they do. So that was pretty funny, man. Ordering your first base, but you already know, man, that we F's with you, and you is our man. So we just glad to have you, man, in the spot, and to get to hear some of what you got to say, and before the holidays come, man.
Pontificator, huh?
Yeah, the great pontificator. AS2, the great pontificator. Hey, man, it's already 10 after, man. The time goes by so fast. Got a quick question for you. What's your most memorable Christmas? And I'm going to start with my dear brother Noopsy, Male Rob, who has joined me in the Christmas sweater.
In his Cobra Kai sweater. Come on, Daniel, son.
Extravaganza.
It's Slytherin, okay? Just because you a Hufflepuff, you know what I'm saying?
I don't watch the Harry Potter stuff. That's the devil's work.
Use the straight Hufflepuff.
Don't be calling me on my name. Don't be calling me no more like that.
And before Mel answers, I'm going to ask everybody watching to please share the show, but not by sharing it, by copying the link and then pasting that into your social media. But yeah, Big Mel, what's your most memorable Christmas, man? I would imagine you had some good ones.
It was in grade school, most memorable. Me and my wife were talking about this last night. I was in grade school, and we lived in an apartment on Colfax. And one year, we lived on the first floor. The people on the second floor had a fire, probably around October, I think. And with the fire damage, the ceiling in my parents' bedroom had caved in. So the floor from the second floor, the ceiling from our floor had caved in. Our apartment smelled like charred wood and smoke, and there was so much water damage and stuff. And so they were constantly fixing our apartment leading into the holidays. And my mom didn't wrap. We didn't even have a whole lot that year. I don't even remember what the gifts were, but I remember at that age being so appreciative that everybody was okay and that our family was together and nobody died in that fire. And she didn't wrap the gifts this year. She just told us to close our eyes, and she'd bring one at a time out of the bedroom and put them in our hands while we had our eyes closed. And again, I don't even remember the gifts. I just remember the feeling of being blessed and being fortunate to have my family, and that's the most memorable one.
Well, man, that's what's up. That's what's up. The great pontificator. What do you remember, man? I know you grew up with brothers and stuff. So what do you remember?
Man. It's, I grew up in Robert Taylor. So first of all, I knew there was no Santa Claus because we didn't have a chimney. We were on the 12th floor. So
you was like, is he riding the elevator up here?
Right. No, he would be mugged if he ride the elevator up.
That's a cold way to figure out it ain't a Santa Claus, man.
But you know what? The other thing is my dad was very good about giving us allowance. We had to do chores, do things like that. So we saved up every year, and we knew we were saving up for what we wanted to buy for Christmas. And the mom would take us shopping, and we would pick out the things. And then they would get something that we couldn't afford with our little money that we saved up. But I think the best one was the year that my grandmother came up. I had to be about 4 or 5, but I could remember. And the weird thing about it being the best one is I burned my arm really severely on a pot. And my mom was the one that was cooking in the kitchen. And instead of running to my mom, I ran to the back of the apartment to my grandmother. And she just gave me this hug, and she comforted me, and she said these things to me. And I remember that because that was actually the last year that she was alive, but she had come up from Mississippi to visit. So that is the one I remember the most.
Did your mother ever forgive you for running to your grandmother instead of her?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Man, don't try to eat them chitlins early, bro.
Put a little something special in them for him, man. Like,
reaching across the state.
She come up here for one visit. I got to deal with you all year, and clothe you all year, and you gonna run around. I got something for you. I saw something recently to say if you raise your children, you can spoil your grandchildren. But if you spoil your children, you're gonna raise your grandchildren.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother subject. We can get that in the parking lot. Glenn, you got a most memorable Christmas, man?
Yeah, not to get all sentimental. So I'll just say 2015, it was the last Christmas I got to spend with my mom. That was it. That was just, you remember memories become more special when they really, really, truly become memories. And you realize that.
Yeah. Well, you and Kennery shared that caregiver journey, man. So I understand, and my heart goes out to you guys. Kennery is still fighting that fight, and we have you in our prayers, brother. And
appreciate it.
Stay strong, man. Robert Hazard, you got a Christmas that was memorable?
I have a couple memories. This was back when I was a child. Not the stripper one. I won't tell that one on live TV. But so it's interesting, Kennery, that we did have a fireplace, right? And so the story was that Santa was coming down that chimney, and I was trying to figure out how was this big Santa Claus coming down this small little chimney, that was in our living room. But somehow or another, my mom and dad got me a Swin Apple Crate bike, if you don't know what that is. And when we woke up, it was there. It was in the living room near the tree, which was a great experience. Even going back, second one was, I had a fire truck, and so my dad, or my mom, whoever, bought me the fire hat that had the mic. You guys may remember this, but it had a microphone on it, and you could speak to it, and it would come out the top of the hat. So that's definitely two of my memorable experiences with Christmas.
That's dope. Before I give mine, production team, we have a viewer that's deaf and trying to turn on their closed captioning. I don't know if that's something that you can do on your end. Turn on the closed captioning through the stream for her. Okay, you turned it on. All right, cool. We can't see it yet, but maybe it'll start showing up. Hey man, I have one distinct memory and then like a blanket memory. And one was the year I got a guitar for Christmas. I was probably, man, about 11 years old, and I was so excited. I still can't play the damn guitar. I just bought one a couple of years ago, Kennery, and said I'm gonna figure out somebody to take some lessons from, because it's still a
Take
dream
you
of
to the
mine.
next level, man.
Yeah,
It'll
it's
take
still
you
a
to the
dream
next
of mine
level.
to be able to play the guitar. But I have a picture of me holding the guitar up, and you could tell I'm about to like lose all of my little bowels and everything trying to hold this guitar up. My face looks like it has taken every amount of strength I have to hold this guitar up for the picture that was taken. It looked like moments after I probably, had a ruptured aneurysm or some shit and just fell out. But that was one of my most memorable. The other one was that it's more of a blanket memory, but when I did realize that there wasn't a Santa Claus, I would kind of wake up in the middle of the night and my bedroom faced the living room and the Christmas tree. And so I would get up during the night and peek and watch my father putting my toys together. Because he worked the afternoon shift. He worked 3 to 12. He got off at 12. He would get home about 12:30. And so that was perfect because me and my brother were asleep, and so he would come in. We were always asleep when he got in. He would come in, do what he had to do, go to bed. But because on Christmas it's so hard to sleep, you're anxious and excited. I would always kind of wake up and peek out and watch him, putting my stuff together. So that's kind of my most vivid memory, is looking down those stairs at my dad putting bikes or whatever, together, man. But yeah, that was just on my mind, man, because I think, we don't look back on some of those times. They made us so happy. Now we're in the throes of life and all of the tough stuff that life brings. But back then we really didn't have any responsibilities. Our parents were doing the tough stuff, and we were just riding their coattails. Do you have something, Mel?
Yeah, so y'all talk about this chimney thing, man. I'm such a creative, right? When I think about my mind and how I associate things, this is how I think I became a great writer and a poet. I actually thought, because we lived in an apartment building and we had a dryer in our unit, I thought that Santa came through the dryer. I associated the heat and the ability to come from the outside. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Ain't no way Santa could fit through a chimney anyway. So he had to have some type of magical powers that narrowed him out a little bit to be able to get in these places. But I'm like, man, he ain't coming through the door. People will see him. So he gonna come through the dryer, which is in the kitchen, to get to the house. This is when I was a little kid. Then I realized he wasn't real. But I actually thought he came through the dryer since we ain't had no chimney.
Hey man, that really just shows you the extent we will go to keep our fantasies, to because those things we live through those vicariously, and we will step away from logic, in an effort to hold on to those things. So I think that's a pretty cool story, personally.
For a 7-year-old, that's deductive reasoning, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like,
What's
it's
the biggest
deductive
hole Santa can get
reasoning.
through?
But it's deductive reasoning to validate, as opposed to deductive reasoning to challenge. It's like, well, he must be coming through the dryer.
my aunt.
I'm gonna be thinking about that one now, man.
Right.
An example of how I used to think as a kid. My aunt has a friend. Her name was Valerie Capps. Caps was her last name.
Mhm.
And Valerie was the type of friend, and this is my youngest aunt, right? My mom's youngest sister. So she's about maybe 20 years older than me, right? So maybe not even that much. But anyway, to make a long story go away, Valerie was the type of friend that used to always mess with the kids, right? So she would always be antagonizing us, messing with us. And so one day I told her, and again, I'm a kid, not knowing what the words meant, I told her to go screw herself on a bottle.
Okay.
Because her last name was Caps.
Right? Okay.
Or you did. Like I said, Mel's a freak, and he's always been a freak. And there's
you
proof,
didn't
right?
know, did you?
Yeah.
No, bro.
He was a child.
And I got beat. Oh, did I get beat for telling the grown up to go screw herself
Look,
on the
you
bottle?
got beat once for saying it. You got beat secondly for the perception that you knew what the hell you were saying.
Man,
Who done told you about screwing and bottles?
it was bad. Her last name was Caps. Santa came through a warm place to get in the house. I mean, it's all the same.
Wow.
Made me think of spin the bottle.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Now we're talking about
they all tried to get the bottle to point toward you, didn't they? Pretty rough.
Oh, I wanted the bottle to point towards them.
Oh,
next topic, please.
Hey, man.
Well, what's your favorite Christmas naughty game, Sean? Let's just talk about it.
Naughty
We
game?
know he got one.
Wow.
Yeah, we know you got
That's
one.
a big
Our
leap.
list. As Mel goes off the camera.
Hey, man. The production team actually shared this next thing with me, and this is probably going to be a bit flammable.
Oh boy.
Actually,
Here we go.
I actually have friends in this situation, and I actually I didn't send the show to certain friends because I didn't want them to feel triggered by the context. But I was sent something about a gentleman who proposed to his lady after being with her for 10 years.
Yeah, so okay.
And and she declined. Basically for two reasons: 10 years, and the fact that even then it wasn't significant. He didn't do it in a significant way. He didn't do it in a way that, that made her feel like it was special or whatever. And so I usually get subject matter and I try to figure out a different angle to look at it, but I started to think about first the judgment that ladies that don't leave get, because people are always very critical of the ladies that don't leave. And I will be honest, I'm critical of the men that will let it go that long. And that's, of course, assuming that they have had the conversation, like everybody knows what everybody wants ultimately. And now, if you haven't had the conversation, to me, conversation is everything. So if you haven't had the conversation, then, you're as much at fault as anybody else because you haven't broached the subject and tried to find out where that person was or gotten that clarity. But one thing I learned is that even in that, and let's just say disappointment, because I don't have another word right now, that disappointment of it taking somebody that long to make that call or make that decision, I learned that doesn't make you stop loving that person. And so for me, I've witnessed that as being a primary reason that a lady stays in that situation, because maybe they didn't do that. They didn't do that ultimate commitment, but everything else they do and do consistently. You know what I'm saying? So, we kind of know Mel's train of thought, because he found his good thing. He didn't tarry, he said, I need to lock this on up, And so, but that's one reason I want to hear from you first, because I know everyone's different. And let me say this before you answer. I expect us to not agree across the board on this, which is why I'm broaching this at 9:25 in case we fight about this till 10 o'clock. But
so I would say, of course, everything's a case by case scenario. And when Monique and I got married, it was at a point in time in my life where I was ready to make that move. So yeah, our everybody thinks our time period was extremely short. It wasn't based on the work that I had done leading up to that relationship, right? So for me, it was for this particular scenario, it was a little bit different. But there have been people in my past who I wanted to marry,
Mhm.
but I didn't think that either the relationship wasn't ready for marriage or I wasn't ready to be married. And I felt like we were moving in that direction, but it was going to take time and some other things to get to a point where it's ready to be okay. So I look at it like if you have the parts of a car and ultimately the goal is to drive the car until it's assembled enough to function properly, even if all the parts are in your garage, it's still not a functional car. So the relationships were like putting together these pieces of the car to make it function the way that I feel it should function. And it was like, man, we need a little bit more training to know how the transmission works so we could get it in there and make sure it's functioning properly.
Right.
I just was a full-fledged mechanic by the time I got to Monique. So
Right.
so it didn't take long for the car at that point. So
So
I
let
think
me throw this at you and let me ask you to hold court a minute. But the relationship, of course, isn't just about you or just about the guy. So, and that's kind of the rub that has always existed, right? The lady oftentimes is ready. She's not seeing the same thing that you're seeing, right? And so, how do you navigate the reality that it's not just your perception that counts in that situation? Because I've been in the exact same situation that you described, where I'm like, we're good, we love each other, we're solid. I don't think we're ready for that next level. I would like to see us do some other things and accomplish some other things before we do that. And I will admit that at that time I allowed myself to be pressured and said, okay, you know what? We've been together X amount of time. I fell into that whole, you know what? She deserves that. She deserves to not, because we were also living together. And so it was like, okay, she deserves to not have that stigma, that she's shacking, right? She was doing some different things from a career standpoint. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to take this L, because I believe we'll get there. I just don't think we're there right now, but I believe we'll get there. And I made that conscious decision to say, okay, we can start pursuing this, even though in my heart, like you said, Mel, our parts are in the garage yet assembled. You know what I'm saying? So how do you navigate the fact that, of course you're the dominant guy, you're the alpha male,
Yeah.
But it's not just your perception. How do you
Yeah.
navigate her perception?
So I think a lot of that has to do with communication and acceptance for the other person's view. And just because you accept their view doesn't mean that you necessarily agree with it. So it's like if she accepts your view, even though she doesn't agree with it, like you felt y'all weren't ready. You accept her view, she feels like we are, even though you don't agree with it. I can identify that this is where you're coming from. I don't necessarily feel the same way, but I can identify with it. And what generally happens in situations like this is so many people enter into marriages before they are ready because they feel the other person deserves it. And then they end up resentful, and then they end up regretting it, and then they end up divorced. Right. So I would rather have in a
Oh, I'm coming to you, big dog. I'm coming to you. You ain't even got to worry.
I would rather have a long relationship and engagement to get into a place where I feel it's sustainable than rushing into it or doing it feeling that I was ill prepared.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. And then you guys just have to find some place of agreement
Yeah.
about that space. Kennery, I know you've been down that road, married and divorced. What can you share about that kind of situation?
I agree with what Mel said, but there was a time where well, to a certain degree, I don't know if there is a such thing as ready. Only because that's an individual case by case thing. So, a lot of people spend their whole lives getting ready, waiting for this perfect moment to, get together with the perfect woman or perfect man, whatever it might be. But then they miss so many opportunities.
Right.
And they miss the moment where, you might get a person who's like, I just want you. I don't need you to have all the ducks in the row. I just want you. And this is the moment for it. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. In my
Or whether
case,
that's going to backfire on you a year from now.
that I'm about to tell the cautionary tale.
There's some wild ducks. You can't get them all in a row.
Yeah, because the risk is somebody that, and I'll say this at the risk of pissing some people off, but women, I think, are more likely to romance the idea of marriage. Men are more likely to pursue it from a place of logic, and so you might a man will do it knowing I'm not holding the cards I'd like to be holding to do it. But if I agree to do it, you can't throw the fact that I'm not holding these cards in my face because I told you I really wanted these cards before I turned that corner.
Yeah, and we can't. Here's the cautionary tale. You cannot make that mistake because. So I was in a relationship when I met my wife, but it was floundering and it was a long distance relationship. So here comes my wife, somebody I went to high school with, somebody I knew, and we started hanging out and we started getting close. And my other long distance relationship started, just kind of going by the wayside. And so my ex-wife was like, well, this is going great. We went from friendship, hanging out to dating. And it's like, well, I'm all about being serious about marriage. And that's my goal. I was like, that sounds like a good goal. I was doing well at the time. I didn't see any reason not to do it. So it took us about 8 months. We were engaged and then we got married. But if those ducks if the ducks don't look like the ducks that they want them to look like, now you can have ducks lined up, all the ducks in the world. But if it's not a Peking duck or whatever it might happen to be that she wants to see, it's going to get thrown back in your face later on down the line, unless they understand exactly what they're asking for. Because a lot of times they're asking for, like you said, the romance version where I'm going to change him or I'm going to grow him or he's going to do this or he's going to do that according to how I see it should go. But then when that doesn't happen,
or romanced it,
and without taking into account not necessarily any shortcomings of the guy, but life, just life. Life is going to happen, and you can't. And I had a perfect storm for me was, the financial crisis, and then then a couple other things happened health wise. And it just kind of changed the dynamics of what was going on in a relationship, and it was only temporary. But sometimes people get spooked when their dream doesn't, hold throughout the relationship. Contrary to the thing that happened with me, as guys, we don't look at when the women go through things that affect their life. We don't look at it that same way because I guess maybe we're not the ones that are looking for the women to do certain things for us but love us. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
It does. It does. It does. Because there's a second half to the question. I don't want to belabor it. Robert, any thoughts? Because I really want to circle back around to the guy that extends it for that long. Because one of the issues in that situation was the fact that after 10 years, he just asked her in the car.
Right.
Riding in the car.
Oh.
Didn't think to make it special,
But I argue that might have been special to him. We don't.
Man, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
We don't get a guide for how we
Man,
should
you guys are
propose
thinking
to a
alike,
woman.
Mel. Oh my God.
I
You
know
know
we
what,
are.
man? Look here. I don't want to fight with y'all tonight. I swear to God, I don't. But I think personally, this is just for me. I think there are too many movies. There's too much media. There's too much information around the fact that this is huge for a woman. And if you don't know that, then you have very calculated, stayed away from the
But
reality. It's
Hey,
like white people not knowing black people experience racism.
hey, Sean,
but
do we
no,
know? But do we
I don't
know?
think how we know that wasn't the only time that he had to get her alone. How you know they
That's-
didn't have
Yeah.
other
Yeah. You create the
responsibilities and
memory.
anything else? That might have been the moment. And
I think that's a
how
stretch,
nervous,
Paintball
how
Dane,
nervous
but
are
go
you
ahead.
to how nervous are you to actually propose to a woman? If you've been dating for 10 years, you're thinking she might say,
Well, hell,
I'm
you
sure you
you're
didn't
probably
expect
pretty
the
nervous
reaction
if
he
you've gone
got.
for 10 years, but
Yeah. But
Hey,
so you
Sean,
gotta think about it. He had to know, he had to figure out at that split second, and that probably was a split second decision of let me just do it right now, you know. And my other question is, why did she stay so long? If she was pissed off about it being 10 years,
that's
this
why I
wasn't a-
addressed
this
that at
wasn't a
the
hostile
beginning.
situation. This wasn't
Because
a
I know
hostile-
women that have stayed, and you stay because what you're getting is
It's
enough.
better than
Well, it's not
Do-
better, but it's enough. Like I know a woman whose dude is solid. I mean, he checks off every box from the way he treats her to the way he treats her family. He hasn't done that. And so I think the logic for a woman is, okay, am I making too much of that thing? Because I get so much from him. And the reality is, a lesser man can show up and affirm her in that way. And she gets the thing that she really craves,
but that's
but
the problem,
loses
people.
what she gets from that man.
But
That's the
Sean,
problem. We have an image of a wedding and not an
Yep.
image of a marriage.
Right.
right?
I'm
Do
not
we
even
know?
talking about the wedding. I'm
Do we
talking about
know?
the level of commitment.
But do we
that
know
couple
why
have to
that
make
10
there.
years happened? Do
No,
we
we do
know
not.
why
Right.
that
We don't
10
know any
years
of the
happened?
backstory. We don't
No.
know the
We don't know
in
the
that
backstory.
situation. I know, but here's a perspective from those who think that I'm much harder on women than I am men. I think that's the man's responsibility. The man is supposed to get the clarity because he's the one that's asking the question. So this is just my opinion. You find out what the hell she wants so that you know what her expectation is.
She's
And if
gonna say
she doesn't want to
surprise
get
me.
married, then you good. But if she wants to get married, then you need to figure out whether or not you want to do that or not do that and move on if you don't.
What if
Most-
10 years
Yeah.
before the conversation was, well, we don't have to get married. I'm good with just us being together. And then what if at the 5-year mark it was like, well, you know, what
But
if
what if that wasn't the
okay.
conversation, Kenry? What
I
what
know,
if,
I'm
what
just
if there's
hey,
never been a
but we
situation
gotta
where they were like
But
deflecting the marriage question? It's like
But
you
here's
asked me, let's
probably
get it.
what happened. She had some friends that hadn't had a relationship since
Yep.
Obama's first administration. That was like, girl, you're not married. It's been 10 years. What's wrong
It's
with you?
been-
You don't need to,
Right.
you need to drop him because he talking about it's 10 years. He done waited this long and he ain't married
Yep.
you yet. You better go on. I don't know why you with him. I don't see why you with him. And I don't know what you're doing. And that was
There's
in
an
her.
amen section over
Yep.
somewhere.
That
But
The
amen.
color in the back
But
seat.
see, but again, that is a part of the culture of dating. Regardless, I've
Right.
been a victim of that. I've been a victim of the ex who's doing well and career is flourishing and mine is baseline and her girls are in her ear going, girl, you can do better. You can
You
do
can do
better. They're not thinking about the intangibles. They're thinking about the material, right?
Right.
You can get a man with better money, or you can get this that, and then you throw yourself into that situation, and it's the intangibles that you realize you miss. So I still feel like as the man, that's our responsibility. That's just Sean Mason and my perspective. When we enter that, because she don't ask us, right? The woman doesn't ask the man to get married. So for me, the clarity about it is my responsibility. And if I'm
I've
not
had some
able,
women ask me. So
I mean, don't get
I've
me
been
wrong, Robert.
proposed
I'm
to.
not flexing, but I've been asked too.
I've
But
been
I'm
proposed
saying,
to. That ain't no.
in a more traditional standpoint, that's our gig, right?
so
True.
so let me jump in here real quick, and I'll be brief. I think we've I think that for
I
me,
don't want to be brief. I want to wring this out to the
I know
very
you
end.
do. I know you do. And that's why I'm going to just jump in and say a couple things about this. Number one, if I look back at my situations, I have never been a person who is, I'm not dating you forever. In fact, I'm not dating you. When I say I'm not dating you forever, meaning that we're not living in sin, for an extended period of time, because my conscience is bothering me, and the woman that I'm with, it's probably bothering her as well. So we want to legalize. We want to clear up some things, as it relates to God too. But I have this thing about me. I'm not taking forever to marry you or to decide that I'm marrying you. What I need to do is some other stuff later because of situations that have occurred in the past, but I would not have taken it to the 5-year mark. We would have solidified
No
where
years.
we're going with this long before we get to that 5-year mark. In fact, my practice has been, and it's worked for me regardless of
He said his practice. His
That's right.
practice has been. That means he's been there a multitude of times. His practice, what that means is what he commonly does in that situation.
I love that Sean's like the stage announcer. He's the narrator.
Right. And you have been drinking. But I think so. You said that we have to, as men, we have to step up to the plate and do some stuff. I really do think that it is our role to do that. The marriage is for both of us, not just the woman. We might want to say that it's for the woman, but it's actually for both of us. As we get clarity on that situation, great, we can do that. But I'm not dating you for 10 years, nor will I allow you to stay in that position where your friends are dogging you out and things like that because you have been with me, that long.
But if your friends are dogging you out, you might need some new friends, because if that's the angle.
I don't know, Glenn. I think if your friends know that the conversation has or hasn't been had, then they're justified in their.
But I don't know that they need to be involved in that. I guess that's one of the big things. Let me.
That's the problem.
Let me just say this real quick, Mel. Don't lose your thought. We involve our friends and family in our relationships way too much.
Yes.
And they have issues that they're dealing with as well. And now they want to give us advice on our issues, and they ain't the therapist. I just think that we need to leave friends and family out of our relationships, whether we're married or in a relationship in general.
Yeah, I've never seen so many marriage counselors without licenses. And
but I mean, think about the age of social media. That's everybody's a life coach. I mean, what I'm saying? Like that's not me. And I haven't forgotten about Jamil. I'm coming to you. Good. But I still say all of that is skirting the issue that for me, it's the man's responsibility. I'm not saying it has to happen. I'm saying the man is responsible for the clarity. Like, because there's some women, they've been down that road. They're not pressed about it.
But who am I making the clarity to?
To the woman, between the
two
of you.
Not the friend.
Yeah. No. Who gives a damn about them?
Yeah. What are you making clear? What are you making clear?
When you say the clarity,
what are you making clear?
Yeah, it's your responsibility to know what her desire is what I'm saying.
But
she may not want to get married. She may have been married before.
Men need to also state their desires too. It's not just.
I was going to say, how's it our responsibility to be clear on what she's thinking in her head?
Because we ask her, Kennery. We ask her.
But everything. Here's the thing.
That's a real easy question.
Hold on, Sean. So we ask her. Yeah. She tells us. Hold on. We ask her. She tells us. We have clarity. Yeah. That doesn't determine readiness.
Right. I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying that. So that way, if he ain't asked you in 10 years, y'all have had the conversation. And if he's been transparent, maybe that's not his journey. Maybe
I'm
that's
going
not
to
what he wants
ask her
to do.
6 months into
Having that
dating
conversation
if she's
Conversation isn't
interested
always
in marriage.
clarity.
I still
Conversation
see
isn't
that.
always
I
clarity.
still see that as the man's responsibility.
Yeah,
It
but
might
he
be the
asked
man's
her-
responsibility.
Okay, so he asked her, he got clarity, he knows this is what she wants. And during the course of the relationship, let's just say 5 years into it, he hasn't asked her. Just because that's what she wants doesn't mean she's ready for it.
Yeah.
Right. He
Says
might see
who?
some
Says
things.
who?
It does. I said it doesn't mean that she's ready for it.
Right. I'm asking you. Says who? It doesn't mean that he
Based
thinks
on what's
she's
going
ready.
on in the relationship.
But
Right.
if they're communicating, they both know where they're at.
No, because people
But
have
you're
a
looking
false
at a
sense of-
What
perfect.
I'm saying
Yo,
is, this is what I'm saying.
There
This
are
is
so
what I'm
many
saying.
people with a false sense of self-worth. Everybody
Exactly.
thinks they're a wife. They're
This-
not.
This
I'm
is what
white.
I'm saying.
There's a lot of them that aren't.
This is what I'm saying.
Some of them ain't ready to make daddy a sandwich.
Right. Some of them ain't ready to be a girlfriend, let alone a
But
wife.
Mel, that may
I just
be
want a
true,
salad. That's
But
all
what
I
I'm
want.
but what I'm saying is, it's our responsibility to know that and
Hey,
communicate
Sean,
that.
Sean,
and
I'm
be
gonna give
clear
you.
about that.
Listen, Sean, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. So this summer
We'll
for
see
the
how
first
perfect it
time,
is. But go ahead.
for the first time
It's
since
perfect.
I
It's
got
Henry said.
separated, I saw my ex-wife. She said she wanted to have lunch. We had lunch. During the course of that conversation, you know what she told me? She's like, "I'm sorry, I wasn't ready, and I don't think I want to be a wife. I thought I wanted to be a wife." So that clarity that you think is right there on the precipice, no matter how you phrase it, no
I
matter
think you
when
guys
you
are
talk
missing
to
my
her.
point.
No, I get your point. I get your
We
point.
get your point.
Just 'cause we
Yeah.
have-
But
we see it
I'm
different.
just telling you that there is not, people don't always know what they want. No matter how
And I,
much
and I
they
get
think.
that.
And
And
it changes, Kennedy.
that's how I know you guys are missing my point.
Well,
I
we
understand
probably are.
people. Hold on, Robert. I understand people don't know what they want. They're confused. I get all of that. What I'm saying is, for me, it's the man's responsibility to play that. That's all. Like,
Okay,
if she
so
don't
what do
know
we-
what she want, as long as you're communicating and finding out
I'm so glad.
where her head is, what her long-term goals are, then you won't be sitting in the car at the 10-year mark, and then when you're ready, she say no because you took too long.
So first
But
of
she
all,
may have said
again,
no.
I'm not
He may
going
have
to
asked her
do
a
multiple
long time
years.
ago.
That wasn't a part of that story, though, Robert.
I know.
The reason that she said no was because he spent 10 years pontificating.
She
No
should
shot,
have left.
Henry.
She should have been gone
He
then.
been a gone.
Yeah, that's
That was
how
my
Right.
original question. It's easy
it's not
to
a
say
hostage
she should have been
situation. It's a
gone,
relationship.
I
but
ain't
that's
seen no
easy to
gun
say
there.
she should have been
Yeah.
gone. If
And
this
it's
guy has
easy to
been,
say he took too
if
long.
this,
Yeah.
if this guy, but if this guy has been solid to you outside of that particular thing,
We
you
don't
can't
know
really
if
say
he's
he
been
took too
solid.
I'm telling you, in this situation, I'm giving you a situation where he's been.
All right.
Y'all working real hard for this. I just want y'all to know.
Y'all wake
You
me up
started
on the
this,
next-
Sean.
you-
You
Wake me up on
started
the
this.
next topic. I tapped
Yeah,
out on
you
this.
started it. You brought
Right.
this
And I
storm to the
meant it,
house.
and I still believe what I believe.
Robert,
Like-
call
like
me
you
when
said-
we call
like you
me
said
on
in
the
a-
next one, Robert.
In life,
I'm
I don't
taking
care what you
that.
believe. I don't care what you believe.
You done
All
put
right,
Mel to sleep.
Let me ask you this question, since y'all have thoroughly annoyed the shit out of me tonight. In all of my Christmas spirit, y'all have annoyed the shit out of me.
You're the relationship Grinch, Sean. Just admit it.
Right.
Am I-
That's what you.
You don't even buy drinks.
Right.
Oh,
that
you
have
don't
to do
even
with
buy
a relationship. Look, in a relationship, I drive bank. I buy drinks. I pay bills. In a relationship,
In a
talking
relationship.
about chicks
But
in
they
a
got to
bar,
get
I
to the
ain't buying
relationship
What'd
before
you
you
say?
buy drinks and all that other stuff.
what'd you say,
It's-
Robert?
They got to get to the relationship with you before you buy
You
the drinks.
damn right. I'm not paying no
and all
bills
that
for
stuff.
nobody I'm not in a relationship with. Are you
But
crazy?
what if they want their weave done and all that stuff you ain't paying
They
for?
can wait until we're in a relationship.
See, you got to wait to the relationship before the weave gets paid for.
Hell yeah.
This is Christmas around the Mason household with Sean.
Right.
Making a point. This
I'm
is
not
Christmas
paying for
dinner.
your hair and dating.
Hell no, I ain't buying a drink.
I ain't getting your hair done until we in a committed relationship.
Robert, I encourage you to go buy all the weaves during your dating journeys that you want to do. That is not my journey. That's not my calling.
And some of y'all in the
And
comments.
now
need to
wake
be on
up.
time
You
now.
can't go to sleep on me. Wake up.
I see some of the salad comment. Robert, you and your salad thing started a epidemic
I
nasty
know.
comments. Y'all need some.
I
Y'all need
know
to
the
get a timeout.
cost, right?
Somebody
Hey,
need
That's
to get a
TJ.
timeout. That's
While I have y'all pissed off, let me sprinkle a
250
little
with the
more
hair.
here.
250 is the hair.
What do you think about the concept of the alpha woman, the alpha female? No, come back, Mel. Come back.
Oh,
I hate that word.
If she
I
wants to
do
play,
too.
if she wants to play a JK, it's okay. Oh, you're not talking about that, are you?
That could be taken a whole lot of ways, Glenn. Ooh. You just made 3,000 enemies with one
That
sentence.
was actually good. That was good, Glenn. That was
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it was quick. It was quick, Henry. It was quick.
I'm
with
here
it.
all night.
2-drink minimum.
That's right.
What do you think, man, about the alpha female? Would you engage in alpha female?
What
Robert,
is an alpha female?
Let's get an
you have
operational
to ask
definition
her.
first.
I don't
Henry
even
said
know
that
what
with
it
the
is.
deep
Can we
voice,
get?
too.
Can
He
we
said
get
it loud.
whatever
I'm scared.
society? Because you know that changes. 1 minute it's alpha, next
Let's get a
minute it's
definition.
feminine. What is it?
Alpha female, I think, is defined by the female personally, but
No, the alpha female is, I don't care about marriage. Then it's like, it's been 10 years and you just proposed to me.
the alpha female is my ding-a-ling better
Circle
than
it back
yours,
around, Glenn.
and
Circle it back
I make
around.
more money than you, and my ding-a-ling bigger than yours, so you got to answer to me.
I'm shocked. I haven't drank in a
11
while. You can
years.
tell.
Why would we want that?
All right. The science of
She
people
has a
says,
goatee. She has a goatee. Rod, she has a goatee.
What does it say, Mel? What is the alpha? I don't even know.
alpha female, a woman who has embraced her leadership ambitions. She is talented, highly motivated, and self-confident.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what that says.
I want that.
But the street
Right.
says it's a woman who is non-compromising.
Is that what
That's
alpha
weaponized.
means? Non-compromising?
No, I'm
That's
just
a
saying what the street says about that.
The street
is that
be
she's
weaponizing everything.
non-compromising.
See, that's why I'm
Um,
not marrying a street
She
woman.
doesn't respect men in the sense that, in a traditional sense, right? What I heard a woman say, don't call me an alpha female and don't call me a strong, independent black woman, because that's a label that has been given black women so that they don't benefit from the support of black men.
Yeah, you don't hit a strong, independent white woman, a strong, independent
Absolutely.
Italian
Right.
woman, a
Absolutely.
German woman. You don't hear none of that.
Never hear that.
So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think so. So here's the thing: when you talk about alphas, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the term alpha as the adjective is not congruent for both sexes, then I think this is where the problem lies in the first place. If you say an alpha male and an alpha female, and but by the definition you just gave of an alpha female, then that would mean that an alpha male is non-whatever, is blah, 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 is all of these things. And I don't take as an alpha male that that's exactly what that means, right? So if you have a different definition for alpha male, alpha female, and the variance isn't just limited to sex, it's limited to characteristics, then therein lies the problem in the first place.
Well, I sent you guys that clip where the gentleman was saying, because in some sense, that description is of a woman who embodies the typical strengths that have been given to men, right? And so in that clip, the gentleman was saying if he embodied the strengths of a woman, women would mock him till the cows come home. So he really didn't want to entertain an alpha female because he felt like that was a woman that wasn't looking to be feminine, wasn't looking to be supportive of her guy. And I'm just asking you guys, you process that description. If you meet a lady, Mel, you off the market, but whoever's on the market, you meet a woman and she's in your face telling you she's an alpha female. Is that attractive to you or is it not attractive to you?
Unattractive, because I don't.
Well, I think,
if you start off with labels, you got to label yourself. You got to tell people what you are. We're done already.
Yeah, if you're throwing it out on, if you laying it on the table,
yeah, this
right.
is
comparing sizes, we ain't doing that. I'm sorry, that ain't.
Is that what it is, though?
But no, that's not what it is.
It is not what it is.
is.
Right.
Yeah, but I think in that clip too, Sean, he also said that, the woman is not willing to submit or be submissive in, there as well. But, I believe that submission goes both ways too. I don't believe that.
So take the romanticism aside, right? I am in a leadership group with other alpha males.
Mm-hmm.
At periods of time, we take the lead based off of our strengths.
Yep.
So
That's
you
the
can
thing.
be an alpha with my wife is an alpha. She cold as hell. She respects me as a man. And there are times where I'm like, baby, you handle this. You better at this shit than me.
Right.
And there are times when she's like, this ain't my area of expertise. Baby, you handle this. Right. So the fact that she's an alpha didn't make her less attractive to me because she has strong leadership characteristics and she has a strong opinion. Well,
That's
shit, if her opinion is right, I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think what the gentleman was saying was that that's uncommon in his experience.
But I think it's the connotation.
It goes back to the
negative
misconception of what leadership actually is.
Yep.
Most people don't even understand the concept of leadership.
Well,
they
I
think
think
it's just being
more
in charge.
about the ability to fall back when you need to, because I think that is the responsibility of both men and women.
The fallback piece of it, absolutely.
Yeah, when my lady is better at something than I am, my ego ain't gonna keep me from letting her navigate that thing. You know what I'm saying? So
because your ego is not fragile enough.
Right. I want to be successful. I don't need my ego stroked. I want us to do well. But I think that there are. I mean, you guys, come on. You know that there are some ladies that have done well for themselves and position themselves in a way that the alpha female definition for them is a bit different than say it is for Mo.
The definition is the definition, though, bro. That's what I'm getting at. So you can be an alpha and an asshole, and it's your asshole that I don't like, not your alpha.
Not your alpha, absolutely.
I could do so much.
Sometimes I might like your asshole. I'm just saying.
It's almost Christmas. It's almost Christmas, and and you in Facebook jail, and but I get you. Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Next question, Sean. Next question.
You heard it here first. Mel said it is your asshole. All right.
And I hope you like mine, because we doing this dance together, man. That's what it's all about.
Strength is really what you should be looking for. It's not alpha anything.
Yeah.
That's a connotation. It's a negative connotation. Strong woman is and strength is knowing your weaknesses and understanding your weaknesses. That's part of it.
Even when we talk about strong women sometimes don't like to hear that whole strong piece of it, right?
Yeah, and I get what they don't.
Yeah, but I want her to be strong in certain areas.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be strong too in those areas as well.
But I think what's fascinating, man, is that 90% of what we've discussed tonight feels like it's exclusive to people of color. We're the ones who battle this stuff.
Because we're constantly trying
we're the
to
ones
find
that created
ourselves.
this stuff. Yeah, we created this stuff.
We created it, but you know what? I think other ethnicities battle in those areas too, or struggle in those areas as well.
Especially the alpha woman part, the alpha female part. That is a universal woman-like battle. When I did my MBA,
is that a Karen?
Well, I'm married to Karen, but yeah. I mean, so I
don't mean that kind of Karen, Robert.
My name.
But I think you're right, Mel. I think it's the women's lib, the movement was actually designed and started by white women. You know that, right? It wasn't anything that we started as African Americans. It was started by them.
Well, black women were being strong black women, if you want to use that phrase, forever.
When alpha female was created.
Before it was created.
When we were being killed and hunted and whatever, kept out of. Yeah, they were doing what they did already.
And they were protecting us.
Strong was different based on what the context is or what the situation is.
Yeah, they were protecting us in those situations, Kennery, right?
Or they were taking care of when we were absent, but through
absolutely.
any means of our own. I mean,
Right.
they were taking care of what they had to take care of. So we already know what a strong black woman
Right.
looks like,
And-
but it's
and you
been
don't need a
weaponized
t-shirt.
as a phrase.
And you don't
Right.
need a T-shirt that says I'm an alpha female to be a strong woman. You
All
don't
that
need an
stuff.
advertisement. I don't need you posting it. I don't
Right.
need you.
And Glenn, that may
Party
be my thing. Like, if you feel the need to present that way, then that's a red flag for me. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Burning red
it's
flag.
like a man doesn't have to announce he's a man. He just
Right.
he performs and
Or
acts
a
as
good
a man.
man. He don't
Yeah.
have
Or
to
a
say
good
a
man.
good
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a good man.
I'm
Yeah,
a good man.
You know, a man or a good man doesn't have to make that announcement. He,
That's why I
that's
said
like me
you start-
announcing I pay my bills. Well, hell, I'm supposed to pay my damn bills.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
that reminds me of
supposed
that
to
old
take out the
song, Henry.
garbage.
I'm catching hell. Catching
Never
hell.
go.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Hey man, we over our time, man. But I knew we were gonna fight tonight. So.
You started it, Sean. You started.
Yeah.
I knew we
You
were gonna
started
fight. I
every
knew you
week.
guys weren't gonna feel my perspective on it. So I gave us enough time to hash it out so we could love on each other by the end of it, you know. But hey,
Nah,
man,
I ain't loving on you. I
you.
ain't like you started this fight. I ain't loving on you. Forget it. Bye,
Right.
humble. Hell with loving on you.
Well,
Ain't
man,
nobody
I-
loving on
you
you.
mean it,
I
your head is
love
ugly.
you. Ain't nothing you can do about it, whether you want to accept it or not. How about that?
You're mean and your head is ugly. Now, there we go. Take that with you for Christmas.
And I'm at peace with both of those things. Hey man, happy holidays to all of you, man. You guys are amazing guys. What I love about episodes like this is that they prove that black men are not a monolith. You know, we're not cookie cutter, man. We all see situations and we see them through very different lenses. I dare to say that the black man is one of the most complex creatures walking the earth, man. And you guys have proven that on tonight. I never introduce anything with the hopes that you agree with me. I introduce things with the hopes that people watch and walk away with 3 or 4 different lanes they can look through. And kind of find the one that they think identifies with them. Mel, it's like with the frat. Of course, I had early exposure to KSI, right? But I really felt in my heart that if I hit a college yard, the only thing that would appeal to me would be KSI, whether I had that exposure or not. It's that same kind of thing, man. We don't define anything, but we define our own journeys. And so I'm never afraid to go to battle with you guys, because even in that, people watching are going to hear something they hadn't considered. They're going to hear something that maybe sparks a different train of thought in them. And you guys have done that so many times for me. So I'm willing to fight with you guys from 9 to 10 on any night.
Especially if you're
outside
not
that,
buying
man,
drinks.
That's for you, Robert. I'm gonna buy you a
This
drink
is for
next
you.
time I see you, Robert.
This is
How
for
about
you.
that? Since it won't be for a woman, I'm still gonna slap you on your booty. How about that? Hey man, love y'all, man. Happy holidays. Ken, you know the deal. Don't leave. We're gonna bounce back to the green room. Everybody watching with us, thank you so much for your support for going on the completion of 3 seasons. We will be out until the 12th. We're taking a couple of weeks off to regroup and rejuvenate. But we will be back, and it'll be more live from the cave. But until then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy birthday to me.
Merry
12/31.
Christmas.
Yeah, for sure.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.